Hello and welcome to the first video in my series about safety gear. Now I'm going to start today by talking about helmets. Now helmets are perhaps the most important piece of safety equipment you can ride you can wear when you're riding your motorcycle. My advice is to never ever ride your motorcycle without a helmet. A lot of people think, oh well, I'm just going to the corner store, I'm just going 2 miles, so I don't need to wear a helmet. What you need to remember, especially with a motorcycle, is that the majority of accidents happen while you're very close to home. The acronym that you may hear in some motorcycling circles is all the gear all the time. It's very important whenever you ride to put on all your gear. But if you don't listen to anything else that I say today, please listen to my arguments for wearing a motorcycle helmet every single time you ride. It just might save your life. Now, talking about helmets, there are multiple types. The first and best, in my opinion, type of helmet that you can get is a full face helmet. This helmet has full coverage of your entire head, including your face and chin. It offers the most protection of any helmet available. Again, I cannot recommend one of these highly enough. Of all the helmet types that are available, this is by far the best. It features full eye protection as well as enclosing your entire head, and is definitely the way to go. Now, some people would argue that there is a convenience factor to wearing a full face helmet, and there are several compromises available. The first compromise that I would recommend is a modular helmet. In this type of helmet, the entire chin bar area flips up and out of the way. This can add a great deal of convenience. You can do certain things without having to take your helmet off. It still provides some level of chin protection, but it is not as sturdy as a full face helmet. So I would recommend one of these as a compromise if you absolutely cannot live with a full face helmet. It does also feature full eye protection just as well as a full face helmet, which is a big deal considering when you're riding there could be thrown stones from vehicles in front of you, not to mention insects and other flying objects that could injure your eyes. So you definitely want full eye protection when you're riding. Now, some people will argue that even a full face helmet or a modular helmet is not comfortable enough, and so in that situation you can get an open face helmet. Now, this covers most of your skull and will protect you from an impact from the side or the rear, but there is zero protection for your face. If you fall face first, your face is going to get injured most definitely while you're riding while wearing an open face helmet. It offers moderate protection overall, and some models are equipped with eye protection in the form of a visor. If not, please, I implore you to wear goggles or appropriate safety glasses while you're riding. Remember, normal, everyday run-of-the-mill sunglasses provide zero protection for you. And the final type of helmet that is common is the absolute minimum style helmet, and most state laws require when you're wearing a helmet it covers at least this much. This half helmet here, you can see it covers just the top of your head. It doesn't provide any coverage to the sides or the base of your skull. It's minimal coverage. There's no eye protection involved in these. Again, if you're going to wear one of these, which I don't recommend, I recommend you go at least modular, if not full face. But if you insist on wearing a half helmet, please wear proper eye protection as well. It's very important for not only your safety but your comfort. Now, when you're shopping for a motorcycle helmet, there are several things that you want to look for. If you're in a state that requires helmets, it must have a DOT certification symbol on it. This means that the U.S. Department of Transportation has tested this helmet and has ensured that it meets the minimum requirements for ensuring that impact protection. Now, a level above that is a foundation, a not-for-profit, called the Snell Foundation. It's named after a car racer from the 50s who died while wearing a helmet when he was involved in a car accident because the helmet did not have an adequate level of protection. The Snell standard is much more rigid than the DOT standard, so if you can find a Snell approved helmet, that is what I recommend you get. They may be a little bit more expensive than a standard DOT helmet, but remember, we're talking about your safety and your life here, so I would highly recommend that you go with a Snell helmet. Now, some people would argue, well, why would I want to wear a helmet in the first place? It restricts my freedom. It makes me less comfortable. I feel like I'm in a bubble. These complaints are ridiculous. If you're in an accident, the last thing that you want is for an unprotected head to meet the road while going at high speed. That's a recipe for death right there. Keep this in mind. The helmet will save your life. Never forget it. Some of the other things that are important. Here you can see in this picture, I've taken a picture of a car bumper from a summer day that is absolutely covered in bugs. Imagine if you were going down the road while not wearing a helmet. That's what your face would look like, just covered with bugs. Not to mention any thrown stones or anything of that nature. As a funny anecdote, I was riding about 6 years ago and hit a bumblebee. Fortunately, I was wearing my helmet. A giant bumblebee hit me dead center right between the eyes. Fortunately, my helmet protected my face, and I had a big bug splatter, so I had to pull over and clean off my lens. I'm very glad that I decided to wear my helmet that day. Another argument for wearing a helmet is wind noise. There have been studies that show that high noise from the wind can cause you to go deaf. It's not so much the exhaust pipe sound that causes motorcycle riders to go deaf over time, but it's the wind noise. And a helmet, especially a full face or modular helmet, will cut down on the amount of that noise that reaches your ears and can help protect your ears. One other thing I'd like to talk about, some people will argue that wearing a helmet increases your risk of having a neck injury in the event of an accident. But there have been several studies that have disproven that myth, not to mention the common sense factor of it doesn't matter if you have a neck injury if your head has been caved in from an accident. So please, when you get a motorcycle, or if you already have one, ensure that you're wearing an appropriate helmet. It'll keep your head safe, and it might just save your life.